All right, I think we're live now. Hello, everybody. Joanna here and Alan. Hi, Alan. How are you?
I'm good, and we need to make a PSA here. I was here before Joanna,
I
so don't y'all down there telling me that I'm late. Y'all can get out of here with that nonsense. I didn't do it.
I'm in trouble. Yeah, I was.
Oh, I
What
don't care.
happened
You're
was
just
I was
talking
trying to
crap.
pile up all my books. I have a huge pile here so that I can be ready to answer these questions. And so, for some background about this is the mid-year freakout tag. I love this tag. I love it. And actually, I want to say this might have been the first video I ever saw of yours, Alan, the year that you started BookTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I I miss tags. I'm so sad that people don't do tags anymore. I'm low key. I'm sad people don't do TBRs anymore. Like there are so few TBR and tag videos on BookTube right now. It really makes me sad. Um, but I'm not sure I miss the days where every single video that was uploaded right now was the bloody mid-year freakout tag. Um, but maybe I do. Maybe
I
I do.
love
Maybe I
this
just miss the
tag.
time that is not now.
Well, I love this tag, but it is very saturated at this time of year with this tag. And so I thought, it'd be much more fun and I wouldn't have to worry about editing if I just did it live with Alan. And I
Yeah.
got excited because Alan just posted a video. You just posted a video yesterday. And I thought, oh, Alan's doing videos again. He posted his top 10 books of 2023
I
yesterday.
agree. Yeah.
So I was thinking, there's no way he's going to do the mid-year tag unless it's like December. And by then,
No.
it's just too late.
And Jimmy on that video commented, I thought this was a gaming channel. And I'm like, shut up, Jimmy. Shut up.
And because of Jimmy's comment, I did tell Alan that we can answer with video game answers if we
No, I'm
want
gonna
to.
answer with books. I'm answering with books.
Okay.
Answering with
Aw.
books.
So I just want to say hello to everyone who's in the chat really quickly before we get started. And we really want to hear your answers to these questions as well, if you want to. I know some of you already have channels and you have probably answered these already, but we'd love to hear your answers.
Yeah.
So where
Penny,
to go? Go ahead.
I'm only talking about our corner. Anytime I talk about BookTube, I'm literally only talking about our corner of BookTube. I realize that it's very different, like outside of our little corner.
Yeah.
But back when the tags abounded, like everyone always gave the same answers, and that's kind of why it got bleh. Mid-year freakout tag was slightly different. The what you're looking forward to was always the same because everyone's always looking forward to the same bleeding books.
Oh,
Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine it coming out right now? What books are you looking forward to before the end of the year? When the truth? 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 It would just be a deluge of
what
wind
about
and
Winds of
truth.
Winter?
Who coming out this year? It might come out next year, but I don't think it's coming out this year.
Wow.
Though, what a coup! I want George to release Winds of Winter the day before Wind and Truth.
That
What
would
a
be amazing.
what a coup! I'm gonna call him.
I would love that. I
I'm
would
gonna
love
call him.
that.
I'll see what I
Yes.
can do. I'll see what I can do. I'm gonna call him.
I think everything would explode, and then it would just end all of the epic fantasy discussions, which, by the way, thank you so much for mentioning the discussion that Tori and I did today in your stream. That was
Oh,
great.
you watched that?
I
Yeah.
did, I did. I watched it while I was making the thumbnail for this.
Oh, right on.
This was very last minute, y'all. I asked Alan this yesterday, I think,
Yeah.
and we just decided let's do it tonight. Okay, but you already have a stream today.
Yeah.
Um, doesn't matter. We're just gonna throw this together. Okay, so we're rolling with it. So that yes, I did listen to that stream and it was excellent over on iWizard's channel. Shout out to him. Fantastic discussion. Yeah. All right. Rereading Empire. Well, rereads, it's one of the questions. So let's go ahead and get started then. So the
I did
first
not look at
question,
the questions. I did not look at them, so I
that's okay. I
forgot.
have them with me. I have
Okay.
them with me. I should have created banners. Maybe it's not too late for me to do that.
It's totally
Uh,
fine.
Let me see if I can do that. So the first question is, how is your reading going this year? I'm adapting this, by the way, from Books and Lala and another booktuber that I mentioned here The Active Mind, who is a really cool channel I just recently discovered, and I liked his version of this tag too. So I'm kind of doing a weird combination of different tags in this
Oh,
video.
Evie said she's gonna hop in the backstage to take care of the banner stuff.
Thank you
So
so
she'll type
much.
up banners for the
Oh,
event.
thank you so much. If maybe I should send them to do you need me to send them to you, Evie? Okay. Well, we'll just go ahead and go from here. I guess they are in the description too. So the questions are also in the description. But how is your reading going this year, Alan?
I mean, the first 5 months it went terribly. I averaged one book a month for like the first 4 months. And then I read, well, no, January was okay. But then February, March, and April, I read like one book. And then May, I think May too. And then June, I got back to normal and started reading more books. And then I was doing really well. And then I've been on Lamora for too long. I just haven't read like last 5 days because too busy trying to get other stuff done and school crap, and also playing Elden Ring, which I shouldn't play. Well, I haven't been playing that much, so that's not actually true. But the free time I have had, I've played Elden Ring instead of reading. I need to
Well,
read.
Elden Ring looks really cool, and I'll say that my husband is also reading The Lies of Locke Lamora, and he's reading, like, maybe a couple of pages a day.
Oh, oh,
So he's
oh
also taking his time.
the real reason I stopped reading is because I was going to do a reading vlog for it. And so I made it to the end of part one, and I was going to do a reading vlog. And every time I had time to pick it up, I was like, oh, and I need to vlog this first section first. And that happened like days in a row. And I have now told myself, I don't care. No, I'll read the stupid thing and I'll talk about it afterwards. And that's always, I realized that is always my problem with reading vlogs is I never, like when I stop reading, like I just don't do it right away. And then it becomes an impediment to me actually reading the freaking book. And so I'm just going to read the stupid thing. Sorry, anybody who's looking forward to a reading vlog. I just
Oh,
don't know how to do it. I don't
I'm
know how to
kinda
do
sad
it.
about that
I don't know how
because
to do it.
I do think I know I told you this already, but The Lies of Locke Lamora is a book that I read several years ago, and I was not as well read in fantasy as I am now, I'll say that, but I do remember it being a bit of a slow burn with lots of flashbacks in the first 3 quarters of the book, and then the last 200 pages, I could not put the book down. So I feel
Oh,
like I read the last 200 pages faster than I read the
well, I
first 3
like
quarters
it a
of the book.
lot. I'm 200 something pages in. I like it a lot.
Yay, I'm so excited to hear that. We knew it all along. Okay, fantastic. So my year, I guess I should go ahead and answer that question as well. And please, you all, please feel free to share in the chat about your reading year so far. I would say this is a pretty interesting reading year for me. It has been the reading year of reading short fiction, and that was not intentional. It just ended up being the case. I ended up reading a lot of novellas, a lot of shorter books. I ended up reading a lot of short stories, and I never used to get into short stories. Never. And I've been reading so many of those, and I'm really enjoying my time with that. And as far as I don't know if I had any books that were like all-time new favorites, forever and ever kind of book, but I've been enjoying what I've been reading for the most part. And so it has been okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like it looks like I've read a lot more than usual, but it's just because I've been reading short books. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Short
Yeah.
books have a way of doing that to you. So, all right. And then we'll go on to the next question, which is the best book that you've read so far in 2024.
That's easy. Mercy of Gods by James S. A. Corey, the arc of that.
Wow.
That's easy. Like it's the, I mean, again, I've only read, let me look at my little list here. I've only read, including rereads, I've only read 12 books this year. So yeah, it's right at 2 books a month. But Mercy of Gods outdoes the other ones like by a country mile.
That makes me so excited to read that eventually. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I can't find the book I chose for book of the year. What did I do with it? I
Oh,
can't find it.
what book is it?
I have a whole stack here and I can't find the book that I chose. Oh, there it is. One second. Mercy of Gods. Keep going. So
Anyway, it's
did it
very
really
good.
surprise you?
It's
Yeah.
the start of a new sci-fi series. Someone in a comment on my review on Goodreads actually um, did me a solid by telling me, comparing it to The Expanse. So I'm actually going to read this to anybody interested in reading that themselves. This is a good comment on comparing the two. Hold on.
I
Someone
really
type.
liked book 1 of The Expanse, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Nothing. Nothing. My oh my gosh. Ignore that. And now let me read this comment. I just went to Goodreads. Here's the comment. I said, in response to, my only caveat is that I haven't read The Expanse, so I don't know how to compare it. This guy says it might be best not to. I haven't read the new one yet, but Abraham insists on how different it is from The Expanse, the themes of The Expanse, and the characters of The Expanse. They pretty much forewarned readers not to expect a new Expanse. For The Expanse, they were massively influenced by Bester and old-fashioned space opera with a touch of near-future hard sci-fi in the world building. For this new trilogy, they went into another vein altogether of space opera, very distant future this time, less hard SF element, and looking more for inspiration at the SF tradition of Le Guin and the Frank Herbert of works like The Whipping Star or the Pandora trilogy, which suggests the new trilogy might be more similar to Abraham's own fantasy works in themes and tone than to The Expanse. So hopefully that helps somebody.
All right. Yeah. Well, like I said, I've only read book 1. So
Mhm.
yeah, that sounds, I mean, I know that you are really excited about it. And I could say from the Long Price Quartet that I'm excited to read anything more by James S.A. or by Daniel Abraham anyway. So, yeah. And I've been in a sci-fi kick, so maybe I'll get to it at some point. Um, Also, Evie has messaged me, and I'm trying to find where she located the banners. I can't find it. All right. Well, I'm going to go on for now. Okay. So, as far as my favorite book of the year, I thought I would bring this one up first.
Oh my gosh. Come on. I mean, whatever.
Actually, I don't know if this is actually my favorite, but I love this book. So I just want to go ahead and mention it now because I know when I was reading it at the very beginning of the year alongside Alan, by the way, I was thinking, goodness, if I had finished this at the end of 2023, this might have made my top 10 because I just had the best time with it. So I know other people in the chat agree with me, like K Fox here. But I will say, though, that the other book, though, that's really sticking out to me right now is The Judging Eye by R. Scott Baker. This is just phenomenal. This is so good.
That's the second series of his,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's Aspect Emperor, so it's the series that continues after the trilogy. Ah, I mean, it there's part of me that almost wants to recommend this series to you because of the Holy War stuff, like, it's just
Nice.
so well done, and I think what I love about this I was talking a little bit about this with Jimmy about how like Baker is able to take these concepts of psychology. Like for example, there's a character in here. There's a whole passage in here about betrayal and a character. And I don't want to give away what the betrayal is, but it's massive. It has
Mm,
like a massive scope behind it.
nice.
But Baker not only says he felt like he betrayed someone. It's not like how some people might rely on the word betrayed to say
Mm,
enough about it. It's like Baker will take the concept of betrayal and he will dissect what that means. And he talks about how it almost has a life of its own, that it's not just, oh, you just betrayed someone or you didn't. It's like, no, once you betray someone, it feels like it stains your soul and it continues to crawl under your skin. And he basically personifies it and makes it feel like it comes alive and that it begets more lies and more betrayals. And you feel how it takes over this person. And I just can't get over how he's able to do that. How he's able to convey these like really intense psychological states in such a way. And I know this particular series and Baker's work in general has a reputation for being extremely bleak, and there is a lot of very triggering content in his books, and that's what makes it really hard to recommend for a lot of readers. And the prose is a bit dense at times, but it's not necessarily the bleak graphic content. That's not necessarily what it is that makes me love what Baker does on the page. It's mostly just the way he explores those parts of humanity, like the way he really dives in and makes you feel that character, feel like you know what that means. It's not just, oh, he betrayed somebody. It's like, no, betrayal has this weight to it. So I'm living for Baker right now. I love this book. It's intense. It is Dune, Children of Dune, mixed with Lord of the Rings, mixed with Blood Meridian, all twisted up in a really dark, bleak fantasy story, but I loved it.
Word.
Can you tell?
Yeah.
All right. So what about you all in the chat? Does anybody else want to share what their favorite read has been so far? Looks like I have some other people who support me in loving The Dispossessed. And Anita, to answer your question, we read it at the end of December going into the beginning of January. So The Dispossessed was
Yeah, it
technically
was this year.
the first book that we finished this year. Yeah. And then there's a question here. If there was any justice in the world, Alan would be incarcerated for his criminally bad opinion. Aw. He could
Sorry.
have that opinion though. That's okay.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah.
Don't know what to
That's
tell you.
Don't worry. I have those too. I have really bad opinions too. So or unpopular opinions, we'll say it that way.
Word.
So, yeah. So yeah, just finished White Luck. That's what I'm reading right now. Fantastic. All right. Oh, so go ahead.
Evie made in the banners, there's a folder of all the banners now. So if you click on banners and then mid-year tag, all the banners are in there.
Oh, I see it now. Got it. I had to go back one more. Thank you so much, Evie. You're the best. All right. So next question. Although I do have an alternate way to ask this question. So best sequel so far. Have you read any sequels?
Let's look.
Okay.
Two. Though Play of Shadows is a sequel. It's the beginning of a sequel series to the Greatcoats, which was really good. I haven't read a bunch of sequels. I've read several standalones, and then like I guess first books. Is that what that is? Because I mean, it's not Claudius the God. That's the worst book. That's the worst book I've read this year. It's a sequel, but it's terrible. I did not enjoy it.
Series? When's Claudius the God?
It's a sequel to I, Claudius, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Bad. So I mean, Guy Jin was fine. So that's kind of a sequel. It was fine. Trials of Empire was the last book in the Empire of the Wolf series, and it was probably, looking at it, maybe my least favorite. I don't know. I mean, it was good. It was good. And that's really it as far as sequels are concerned, I think. Yeah. But a bunch of standalones or first books.
That's not a bad thing though. It's good to have a lot of standalones in your list.
Yeah, but I mean, I suck at this question, so I guess it's gonna have to be you, and you can't say judging I because you just did.
No, I suck at this question too. I don't really have a good answer for this. And an alternate way that I saw this question asked is so we're going to go into the best sequel. Have you read any short stories this year? Because I saw somebody offered as the best short story. And I was like,
oh yeah, I guess I did. I did. I finished. I had like 3 short stories left in my KJ Parker short story collection that I'd gotten a while ago and just hadn't finished the last 3. Did I like any of them? Oh, I liked. Yeah. One of them. Oh, there are only 2 left. One of them was 5 stars. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's a short story called "The Best Man Wins" by KJ Parker. I really enjoyed that one. I apparently read all 55 pages in a day, so that's good. So yeah, I did read that, but that is it. I've read 2 short stories, and one of them was meh, and the other one was good.
What was the premise of that one? The Best Man Wins. You remember? It's hard to talk about that.
A guy who doesn't know how to sword fight comes to the best weaponsmith in the city and says, "Hey, I'm going to give you my entire inheritance to make me the best weapon in the entire city so I can kill the guy who killed my dad." And it was good. It's Parker. So I knew what was going to happen in it before then, because I'm like, I've read too many of these books, but it was really good. I mean, it's really good. It was, I don't know. I just liked it a lot. So I'm assuming yours is Paper Menagerie or something in that.
Well, it's actually not, but the Paper Menagerie is incredible. You've got to go back to it. So you've only read the first 3 in that? Is that correct?
Yeah, I was reading short stories in between books, and then I just was reading too slow, so I nixed the short stories.
Oh, Kyle, why didn't we invite Ellen to join us? Because we read it over 2 months. I
Well,
was the last one to finish, but it was a lot of fun to read those stories. It was my first time reading it, and everybody on that read along with it was their second time. But Ellen, I think you would really love the rest of that collection. I think I don't know, I really loved it. I personally love that collection so much, but my choice, unfortunately, I can't give it to the Paper Menagerie though, because this year I read Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich, which I'm gonna probably butcher that name, but oh,
is
this
that a
short
short story?
story. What was that?
Is that a short story?
Yeah, it's a short story. This is a short
Oh,
story collection that Matt gifted me. Matt, who is in the chat, I can't see him. I don't see him now. But yes, gifted me this collection, and I want to read the other ones so badly. I just haven't. I'm really usually terrible about short stories, so I'm really proud of myself that I actually got to this one. But this is an incredible short story. It's about a man who has is kind of he reminds me so much of people I've known. I don't wanna say too much. He reminds me of people I've known, though, who were really hard around the edges. You know, people who are like, "Business is business, too bad." Like, no compassion at all, and it's not personal, that kind of idea. And he starts to encounter death, and it starts to make him reflect on the life he's lived. So I guess I know there are a lot of stories out there that make you reflect on life and, like A Christmas Carol or
yeah,
whatever, but this particular one was so powerful. It just I still think about it all the time. I
yeah.
wanna say it's even maybe even my favorite. I don't know, I loved it
I
so much.
remember Jimmy really liked it last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he recommended it because of stoner, and so, of
Mhm.
course, that's a buzzword for me. If you tell me a book is like stoner, of course, I'm gonna wanna read it.
Yeah.
I think this one's a lot darker than stoner, but I can definitely see why he said that. I think the writing style can is somewhat similar to John Williams. I think, you really connected with John Williams's writing style too, right? So
Mhm.
I
For sure.
I would highly recommend checking out Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich. It just I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I think about it often, often. Um,
That's cool.
yeah.
I have not read it. As you can see, I didn't even know it was a short story. I thought it was a novella. I knew it was short, but I didn't know it was a short story.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I want to see what other people are saying. Stoner. Yeah. Absolute buzzword for me too. You and I both. Um, and hello there. Yeah. Trying to see if I missed anything else. The paper menagerie is better than yeah. I yeah. I did love the paper menagerie though. Those stories I mean, I would say the collection as a whole, there are some stories that are stronger than others, but the collection as a whole gets a universal recommend for me. Like I loved it. Um, so it is kind of hard to put. There he is. Hi, Matt. So Matt is the one that gifted me that collection. But yeah, I recommend all of them. They're all incredible. So yes. Okay, so going on from here to the next question. Let's see. I think we're skipping one in the ones that Evie has here. That's okay though. I'm gonna go ahead and post a different one here though, if that's okay. Um, let's see. Hopefully I can get this up. So this is a favorite reread or something you'd like to reread. And I put replay if you want to do this with like
Uh,
Elden Ring or something.
I don't replay games.
Oh,
I don't have the time. So unless they release like a new edition with like new trophies, then I'll get it. But reread. So the only books I've reread were um a like one of the first one of like a serial novel, a serial mystery kind of books that I read when I was in like high school and college, and then Gaijin, which is fine. But I'd like to reread, but I'm probably not going to do it till next year. I want to reread The City Watch of Discworld, which I definitely will do next year. I do not have time this year, but I'm also going to be rereading The Greatcoats this year with Anitha, who is my loyalist but has not yet read The Greatcoats, which is a problem. So we're gonna remedy that. And I also want to reread The Folding Knife, which was the first Parker book that I read, and I want to revisit The Folding Knife now, having such a grasp of his body of work at large, his corpus librorum or whatever. So yeah, so those are kind of what I'm gonna reread. I think the books I have like a list of books I'm trying to reread or that I want to read this year, and about half of them are rereads. So yeah. That's
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really surprised, Anita, that you haven't read The Greatcoats. I haven't read it either, but Anita has read pretty much your whole entire library. So I guess I agree that that must be.
Anita has not read the Books of Babel or
Oh,
The Greatcoats or Discworld City Watch. So I always forget this too. I'm like, Anita hasn't read anything that I like. So I don't even know. Like, are you even Alexandria at that point? I
I
don't know.
guess you're right. But what has she read though? She's read Long Price Quartet.
She's read
She's
basically
read a lot.
everything after those.
Oh,
Like she came on board like after that era. And so everything after that is fine. Oh yeah, also hasn't read Song of Ice and Fire, which is another one of my favorite series. Anita didn't like anything I like.
read
So
it. Read it, Anita. I wish you would, but I don't know. I know she's turned off because of the show, which I can understand.
yeah, well.
But it's different. It is different. I think the show is what much harder to watch for me personally. Hey, I wizard. Hey, Jordan. Um, yeah, they were making fun of me because I didn't get the like stoner kind of kind of joke.
I almost didn't read it because I was like, I'm not gonna read a book about a stoner. I'm just
Oh, I
not.
totally thought it was about like a pothead when
Yeah.
I heard about the title. That was yeah, but I so good. All right, so yes. Oh, here's
I
another
know,
one.
Philip. I know. Not friend. Loyalist. Like
Loyalist.
loyalist and in the High Council. Like she's in the High Council. I don't know. I gotta debate about this and hold on. Pete hasn't read those either.
He hasn't?
I need to revisit my entire High Council. I think most of my High Council hasn't read the crap that I like.
Goodness. This is
Evie
a
hasn't
problem.
read The City Watch. She's read the Books of Babel, so Evie's fine with Books of Babel. Hated the first Greatcoats. Hold on. Y'all are all terrible. All right, it's clean house. Night of Long Knives, guys. Night of Long Knives tonight. Get ready.
Goodness, and she's even getting trolled by Philip. What is happening there? And Evie is feeling better about herself now. And Kyle's your loyalist.
No, Kyle is not my loyalist. What a shock. You've read one of them in the 50,000 books you read in the last 2 years. I'd be shocked if you hadn't read them.
It's true. I mean, Kyle's read more books in one he reads more books in 1 month than I read in 2 years.
All year. And usually it's being buddy read with friends of mine. So when I'm like, hey, you want to read this together? They're like, oh, I can't this month. I'm reading something. I'm reading this with Kyle. I'm like, are y'all freaking kidding me? And so I go to a different friend who says the same thing to me. And I'm like, all right, well, you know
I
what?
bet he read the
I'll
paper
read it by
menagerie
my
with
dang
Kyle.
self.
With Kyle. And I did tell Kyle I would defend him because he actually created a structure. He created a 2-month long structure and he did not, well, he actually beat me. He read it. He finished it before I did. But everybody else dusted me. And he actually kind of stuck with me towards the end. We kind of stuck together until like the last 2 weeks and then Bookborn just couldn't help herself and then Evie couldn't help herself and then Kyle
Okay.
yeah.
hold on. PSA, ladies and gentlemen. You people who join a buddy read and then say, I can't help myself and read the whole freaking thing. Like, listen to yourselves. Yes, you freaking can. Exercise a modicum of self-control and go read something else oh, I can't help myself. Yes, you can. This also applies to all you freaking clowns who every single month have a book haul and are like, oh, I couldn't help myself. Yes, you freaking can. Or you have too much money. Because if you're poor, I promise you, you can't run it. You can help it. If you ain't got no money, you can help it. Oh my gosh. Modicum of self-control, ladies and gentlemen. You can freaking help it. This is why I can't buddy read with anybody, because people get one shot and then they're banned for life. I'm not going to do it. So here are the people that are banned. Kyle, Joanna,
What?
Phoebe, who else? I'm certain there's more, but like basically 80% of the people I know on BookTube, I refuse to buddy read with because they're like, well, I just can't help it. And I had to read the last 200 pages in a day.
I did not do that. I did not do that. I did check in with you about The Dispossessed, and it was a problem because it was the only book I took with me on vacation.
Joanna, if
I
we
didn't have
make
any last
exceptions
read.
for you, we have to make exceptions for everybody.
It's true. You're right. You're right. I failed you.
I know.
No,
I know. Most
I
people do. I spend my entire life waiting for the next betrayal.
but the problem is we didn't set parameters. So I think that if I ever do a buddy read again, I wanna we'll do parameters. We'll decide exactly how much we wanna read in a day or a week or make some kind of goal. How about that? No? No, it's too late. It's too
Yep.
late.
Hold on. You know what else I don't like? When people come up to me and say, hey, Alan, do you want to buddy read this book? Oh, sorry. Hey, Alan, me and these 4 other people are buddy reading this book. Do you want to buddy read it with us? No, I don't want to be your last choice. I don't want to be your afterthought where you were chewing on the candy and it has like a bitter aftertaste and you're like, oh, wait. Maybe we should invite Alan. No, don't even invite me at that point. I don't want it. I don't want your leavings. I don't need your table scraps.
Oh.
No
Well,
one's left. No one's left. Everyone's gone. I live a sad life. Speaking of bitter recluses, Christina's reading A Man Called Uwe and is obsessed with it and is determined that I am that mean old man. So
oh, I haven't read it, but I heard he's pretty mean.
yeah.
No? Oh,
Well,
no. Does he have a crossword puzzle pencil
I
that he
don't know
can
what he does. He reads me some things, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like me. That does sound like me. She read something that was like, I've literally said that same thing, and she's like, I know. So
I
you know.
remember thinking of you when I read what is the name of the book? I've already forgotten the name of the book. Lock Tomb series? Is that what it's called?
Oh my gosh, Gideon the Ninth.
No, that's not what it's called.
That's
That's
Lock
the
Tomb.
wrong name.
St. Theo's
Um,
here. Thank you, Theo. You're the only one that
no!
hates seeing me upset. Everyone else, all they do is just make me upset. No, Anita's the only one I can buddy read with. You're right, Anita. That's why you haven't been
So she's
heated
still
out the
loyal
window.
because she manages to buddy read right.
Well, it's because she reads slow too.
I read slow. I
Well,
do.
when you catch a tailwind, you can't help yourself. And you just go ahead.
Oh gosh. I did lose that. It was my fault for that one, for sure. I do apologize.
Joanna, this thing is going to be 4 hours. Like,
Okay, I'm so
I
sorry.
stayed on. It's my fault. Like, this one's mine.
Oh, okay. I didn't answer my favorite reread. I guess I should go ahead and answer the question. I've only reread one book so far this year, unlike last year where I reread a lot of books. And my favorite reread was The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle.
That's a great book.
Oh,
Though
you read it?
I like the I like the movie better.
Mm.
Like I like the animation better. There's just parts in the book that were just like, I don't know, slow for me. It's also possible that I grew up with the movie and I read the book as an adult.
Yeah.
But I love that book.
Yeah. Well, I felt the same way as you did the first time I read it. When I was a teenager, I read the book after seeing the movie, and I preferred the movie, I think, maybe a little more. And then when I reread it, I actually loved the book more, maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I love both, but such a great book. such a great book. I
Yeah,
was
it's really good.
it's so good. So
I
good.
I love that movie. I channel. I'm trying in the audio thing I'm recording. I try to channel King Hagrid from that movie in one of the voices.
Oh
Um,
my god.
Philip's like, I want this guy to sound like this. I'm like, I was born to do this particular voice because I've been mimicking it for 3 decades. So
Oh,
it's so good. It's so good.
good. I love it. Angela Lansbury is in the original animated.
She's the gypsy that runs she's the witch that releases
Oh,
the
I
harpy.
thought she was the older maiden.
Molly.
Yeah, I thought she was Molly McGrew.
Angela Lansbury has a very small part. It's
Oh,
as the
I
lady who runs the harpy circus or whatever.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Angela Lansbury part's super small. Christopher Lee is in it. He has a big part. Um, Christopher Lee's in it.
Mia
Who
Farrow, I think.
Jeff Bridges
She's
is Prince
Mandarin?
Lear.
Oh, Prince Lear. Okay.
Yeah, Mia Farrow is Amalthea. Um, yeah, yeah, super good.
We should have a Last Unicorn watch along
We
sometime.
should we should do that. We
That
should
would
do
be
it.
amazing.
Remind me. I'll forget the second we get off of this.
Okay, we'll figure that out. Yeah, the movie is really good. And then going on to the next question. Okay, trying to figure this out. New release you haven't read yet, but want to.
That's something that's come out and I haven't. House of Open Wounds, which is the sequel to The City of Last Chances, which I loved, and as things were right with the world, then I read it, I loved it, I shared it with my people, who also then read and loved it, and together we spread the word of its goodness from sea to shining sea. And
Oh,
then I just wasn't able to read. I was in a slump for so long. I wasn't able to read the arc of that one when it came out, and it came out in March, and I still haven't read it. But I mean, the first one was so good. So that's what I want to read. That's probably what I'll read soon. So
okay, cool. Yeah. I'm trying to think of new releases. I know that John Gwynn is coming out with his new release, but I still haven't read The Hunger of the Gods. And I'm trying to think of other new releases. I can't think of any at the moment. Of course, oh yeah, The Stormlight. Everyone's gonna read that. I don't know.
I
I
think this question is books that have come out that we haven't read yet.
Oh, that's right. You're
Because
right.
there's a later one that asks about later in the year.
You're right. I
So
think
has
you're
anything
right.
come out this year that you want to read?
That's a good question. I know you've talked about that um Tchaikovsky City of Letchas House is it?
House of
uh,
Open Wounds.
Thank you, House of Open Wounds. I know you've talked really highly of that series, right? So,
City of Last
um,
Chances is fantastic. If you haven't
yeah,
read it, you should read it. It's
I
so
haven't
good.
read it. Yeah, I think I would
It's
enjoy that.
it is it is yeah, it's very different from Guns of the Dawn, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, everybody's talks about I know Sarah from Sarah Reads always talked about how Tchaikovsky was like a chameleon of a writer because he could
Yeah.
just do so many different things. I would love to read more from him at some point. I wrote down a different version. Okay, so new release, so it's a different kind of question. Things that have come out. Good. I don't know what else has come out. I'm really bad about following
Well,
new releases.
that's because this is a booktube, like deep booktube tag where everyone is always on top of the new releases and stuff that has come out already. This is not meant for people who do not pay attention to that
Oh,
thing.
but I did come up with an alternate way of interpreting this question from one of the people that I mentioned in the description. And he said, new to you authors you haven't read yet
Okay,
but want to.
that's fine. That works too.
So are there any authors that would be new to you that you haven't read from yet that you really want to?
I gotta see what new authors I've read. I don't bloody know. What new authors have I read?
I mean, they
No.
don't have to be like new authors, but just new to you.
Oh, I mean, I guess The Expanse, because James S. A. Corey is technically new to me. Half of them are. Um, so The Expanse. Liv Constantine, who wrote the extraordinarily stupid domestic thriller The Wife Stalker, and yet I enjoyed the crap out of that book but it was just so stupid. But I would read another book by It's a Pair of Sisters. I would read another book by them, just because of how much I enjoyed reading it. But man, is that a dumb book.
You enjoyed reading it, but it was a dumb book.
Yeah, because these domestic thrillers, like when all
Oh.
is said and done, it's like, what? Like what? This is so dumb. And the way people act, like no one acts like a person ever. It's just like, this is so dumb, and yet it's so good. Like it's just like, it's very entertaining while being very dumb.
That makes sense. I
So,
mean, it could be just like the genre kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I watched Alex Trebek go Jean last night, and he didn't even do the clip that I give where he's like says genre. He literally didn't even say the R. It was just Jean. I'm like, Alex Trebek, no. Jean, that's a person, man. Like he's just like, and a member of this Jean.
The
Stop
genre.
it, Trebek. He was out of
I
control.
actually, for the original, like when I was messing with the thumbnail, the original concept I had in mind was to have a whole bunch of index cards floating around with the questions, and with one of them I put a genre.
That's
I
right.
put that in quotation marks.
Jean. It's like Trebek's out of control.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Um, so as far as new to me author that I haven't read yet, so not necessarily a new author, but just new to me, an author I really want to get to is Ishiguro. And so I have Never Let Me Go, and I have The Remains of the Day.
I read Remains of the Day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
When?
Last month, May. I read it in May. Let me see.
Oh,
Let's
tell
check.
me about it. Did you like it?
Spreadsheet. Yes. Oh, yes, I liked it. It is high on my ranking in the 12 books. When did I read it? Remains of the Day, May 19th to June 5th. So 18 days for a 246-page book. How sad. But yeah, I read it. I liked it a lot.
So when I was on Chatting with Nuts last time I was on Chatting with Nuts, I remember talking to him about Ishiguro because I had just found out about Never Let Me Go, and I remember Jimmy looked him up at the time, and since then Jimmy has read Remains of the Day and has hyped it. Well, he spoke its praises, so a lot of people have been reading it, and I've been really wanting to get to this author though because around that time, I had been looking up a lot of videos about Ishiguro, and I noticed that on different parts of BookTube, not necessarily in our corner, there are people who are mega fans of this author. And I know some people in our chat, I know some people love this author too. Like for example, Matt said, I don't know, Matt, have you read any? Maybe I'm just imagining that. I know Bart has read Clara and the Sun. Oh, he's reading Never Let Me Go right now. Um, and I don't know. So yeah, so I've just heard various people talk about him. But what's interesting is just finding some videos of people who are huge fans of his, who have read all of his books and rank them. And one thing I find really interesting is when different fans rank this author's books very differently. Like nobody's list looks the same, and
Yeah,
that has me intrigued. If everybody had the same uniform list of ranking his books, I might not be as intrigued, but
for
the
sure.
fact that everybody has a different take on his books is what makes me interested.
Yeah, that makes sense. I read Remains of the Day for Jimmy because he's like, you never read anything I ask you. I'm like, yes, I do, but this is my one. This is like one a year. So this was it this year.
Jimmy has
But
never read anything based
I
on my recommendation.
really enjoyed it.
It's funny
Uh,
because I've read a lot of books based on his recommendation.
yeah, well,
Okay. In fact, I was thinking about making a video at some point of like books I've read thanks to Alan, books I've read thanks to Jimmy, books I've read thanks to Murphy, and books I've read thanks to Philip, and just see how they stack up. But I think you might win. I might have read more books thanks to you, but we'll see. Maybe someday I'll do that video. Um, all right, sorry. Oh, you are reading Liza Laclamora.
that's because I let my patrons vote on a book that people have been telling me to read and which one of them should I do it. And every now and then I let the people choose, but they chose from a pre-curated list that I wouldn't dislike reading. So
Yeah. Cool. So next question is on my list is most anticipated release or most anticipated read for the second half of the year. I know Evie didn't quite have that question, but I'm just going to go ahead and post it here.
um What is coming out this year that I want to read? I don't think there's anything else coming out this year that I want to read. Um, well, I mean, yeah, Mercy of Gods, but I've already read it. Um, Blood Dim Tide, which is the second Nightingale and the Falcon book, that comes out like tomorrow, maybe Friday, so that doesn't really count. What else? I don't know.
Have you heard of that new Keanu Reeves book that's coming out with, it's Keanu Reeves and I can't think of the name. Burrito Street Station, that author. China Miéville. Have you heard about the book that they're writing together? Or they wrote together
Keanu
that's coming out?
Reeves.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves wrote a book
Okay.
with China Miéville.
So I'm about to get all fuddy-duddy on people. Guys, I was always fine with Keanu Reeves. Like I never had I don't understand why Keanu Reeves has become kind of this like standard bearer of the geek community thing. Like I don't know why he's in Cyberpunk. Like I don't know why he's all of a sudden in all of these things and writing a book with China Maven. Like what are you doing, Keanu Reeves? Can you please just go and be John Wick somewhere? Like I don't when I'm playing a video game, I am not someone who likes seeing the likeness of a voice actor in my video game. Like I don't like if Kevin Spacey or Keanu Reeves or whoever, I'm just thinking of the ones that I can remember, or Willem Dafoe, or if anyone wants to be in the game, that's fine. Let them voice it. But when they look just like it, what are you doing, guys? Like, you think I'm going to be like, oh, look, it's not Kevin Spacey? Like, I understand that's different in movies. They're different people all the time. I don't have a problem with Keanu Reeves. I don't know why the meme culture has rallied around Keanu, and he's a nice guy. I don't dislike him. I just don't know why this thing is occurring, and it's weird to me. So I don't know. It's weird to me, and I'm tired of seeing it because Keanu Reeves, I really like you in Speed and The Matrix. Stop being in my video games. And I like when someone's like, "Oh, Keanu Reeves is helping a guy write a book." I'm like, that will neither that I am neutral to that news. Like that does not. It's like, "Oh, George R. R. Martin helped write the lore to Elden Ring." I'm like, okay, Souls lore is so obtuse. I watch videos and still don't understand it. I don't care. I don't care.
Well, I mean, the only reason I am curious about it is because it's China Miéville. So it's like,
I
if it
don't
were
I don't read
just
his books. This is I Joanna, I'm Alan. Have you confused me
I
with
haven't
Jimmy?
read China Miéville
I
either,
think
but
you've confused me with Jimmy. Are we that like
no,
did you really forget it was me and
no,
thought I was Jimmy?
I haven't forgotten, I promise. I have not read any China Miéville, but I keep hearing, I guess maybe because of Jimmy. It's Jimmy's influence because I've heard about this author for a while
K
there.
Fox, yes, Felicia Day in Dragon Age 2. Yes. Why are you in this, Felicia Day? Because you're the one girl that gamers know who she is back in, the mid 2000s? Felicia Day, stop. Get out of the video game, please.
All right.
Sorry.
That's all right. So, uh, so most anticipated book or most anticipated read for the second half of the year? Let's just go ahead and answer the question. Sir,
I'm
did
not
you
sure. Did
answer
I
the
not
question?
answer that? I don't think I answered that.
I don't think you did either. We just kind of ranted about Keanu Reeves. So.
Oh, is that coming out this year? Is that the thing?
Yeah, I think it's coming out at the end of this month,
That's wild. That's
and it's
great.
based on Keanu Reeves's comic book because he created a whole comic, and then I guess he worked with China Miéville to write into a book.
Being a comic book, just go be John Wick. Be John Wick, man. I don't. Yeah, I can't think of anything coming out this year, so I'm gonna cheat and say I'm looking forward to the first book in a brand new KJ Parker trilogy coming out in February.
Okay,
And
cool.
literally, Orbit's website says book one of new Parker trilogy, February. No details, no title, no picture, no cover, just first book coming out here. Nothing about it, but I know that's what I'm looking most forward to. Fingers crossed, third person, third person, third person, third person.
Oh wow! He's so much better in third person then.
Evie and I do not agree. I much prefer his third person works. Evie likes his first person a lot. I don't know if she prefers him first person, but Evie likes the first person works significantly better than I do. I prefer his third person works almost to a 1, like so much more. It's bizarre. So yeah, that's
It
my
makes me really want to test out his books, like, one for one, because, I noticed when I was reading The Paper Menagerie that for whatever reason, the stories that were told in first person were the ones that I enjoyed the most. I kept noticing that over and over again, so, I don't know. Really interesting, but I don't think of myself as a typically I don't know, I guess it just depends on the book and author. I can't say I'm not a first person because
yeah.
Warlord,
First
but
person doesn't bother me,
yeah.
except like I just don't like KJ Parker's first person
Mm,
stories as much as I like his third person stories. So
yeah. As far as, like, anticipated, what did I put? So I'm excited to get to the Dandelion Dynasty after reading The Paper Menagerie, and this is a good opportunity, Alan, because we talked at one point, you said, "Don't read the Serentine Mosaic by Guy Gabriel Kay without me."
oh no. I
Did you change your mind?
I did say that. No, I didn't change my mind. I just forgot to put it on the list of things I was going to read this year. So, I didn't forget. I did say that. That's my problem. I say these things all the time. Here's the thing. I say these things all the time, and then I forget that I say it, and something goes on without me, and I count that as a betrayal, even though that's nobody's fault except mine, but I count it. It counts. So, see, every time Kyle in all caps shouts about something, like it makes me not want to read it
Oh,
because
no.
that's why I don't want to read things because people shout at me about how good something is. And it's not just I'm not picking on Kyle. Kyle just did it then, but someone else did something earlier. Anytime someone shouts at me about how good something is and how much I'm going to like it, I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Like, don't tell me how good it is. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There you go. That's better. That I'm much more likely to respond to. Oh, Serentine sucks. I'll be like, I'll show you what sucks. So
So, what we should formulate a plan to read the first book maybe in 1 month? Do you think 1 month is enough time
buddy
to
read?
read?
I thought you were banned.
Well, then why did you say don't read it without me? What does that mean?
It's possible I forgot you were on the ban list. I don't know. Anita's my record keeper. Anita, sort it out. Tell me if Joanna's banned or not.
But, I mean, what if we just I mean, even if you don't wanna read it right alongside me, we could there's no reason why we can't read it within a month or around the same time and
I
then
can think of so
discuss
many
it
reasons why
together.
we couldn't do that. I mean, I would want to. Yeah, let's formulate a plan.
'Cause that's what I do with Josh from Red Fury Books. I cannot read 100 pages in an hour. He reads like 100 pages in an hour. I can't do that. So, obviously, he reads books way faster than I do,
People who
and
read books fast, people who read books quickly,
I
like
feel it coming.
they they evoke a physical stress response in me. Seriously. Like I I cannot control the physiology of my body.
No, I'm the same way.
I get physically angry. Like I get physically irritated.
I don't get
Um,
angry, but I get anxious.
of course you don't get angry. So
But you're nice.
yeah, I know. But it's just like when I'm trying I so I just looked at the comments and I knew, and I almost said it. I knew that when I said I can't control the physiology of my body, I knew I would have wagered my house that Kyle was going to jump in and say, yes, you can. Now, I didn't say that because I thought maybe in this particular parallel world, he would let that go. Because, anyway, yes, it is possible for people to control some parts of the physiology of their physiology. It is physically possible. Like it is. Like in the realms of things that can happen. That is true. I cannot. And I do not have the bandwidth, time, or ability at this moment to put in the work to do that. I'm not going to meditate. I'm not going to meditate. I'm not going to do yoga. I'm not going to do any of that nonsense. I don't have time for that, nor the patience. I don't have the patience. I need to work on patience. What I'm saying is, I don't know. I try to read something. People I try to read something. People like, oh yeah, oh I picked that up. I'm done. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Wait till you get to this part. I'm like, this book has been out for 2 flipping days. So when something, fortunately, I never want, like, I'm never on a new release that anybody cares about. But if I was, I would literally just disconnect from the internet while I finished it to avoid that kind of thing. So
I just wanted to say I did make him try yoga a couple times. It was kind of funny.
I'm not even reading the chat. I'm not even looking at the comments because the comments are gonna make me mad. Like, I'm not even looking at the comments because they're gonna make me mad.
Well, they're saying hi to Christina.
Christina, come tell these people that I'm Ove, apparently.
Well, now you're making me want to read that book.
She's obsessed with it. I have to use the bathroom and get coffee. Christina's gonna tell you all about it. That's her favorite book of the year.
Baby 2 more ounces.
That baby don't need no food.
Yes, he does.
Okay, well, you don't have to, Christina. No pressure.
The baby's not upset. He's like, I'm just convinced that he's not quite full. He's very, very sleepy, but it's like he's a little restless in his sleep, which makes me think that he was trying to fight between one or the other and sleep one out, but he's still not satisfied enough to be able to sleep fully. That's what I think. So I was going to try to wake him up enough to see if he'd eat a little more. Yeah. So he'll be okay for a couple more minutes. But I am loving that book though. And yes, Alan is there are a lot of things that I'm like, oh my gosh, is it Uwe? Is that what you said?
I don't know what his name is.
I listened to the audiobook earlier today. I've been saying it Ove the whole time. And then I listened to some of the audiobook and was like, I'm not saying it right. So I need to figure out how to pronounce it. But yes, Evie, we are good to have a persuasion chat on Friday. Atticus may be there, but yes. You ready now?
Yeah.
It's a really good book though.
I keep going off
I
on a
love
tangent.
it so
We're gonna be doing this for 8 hours.
Makes me want to check it out.
It's my fault, Joanne. I'm sorry. Anyway, I was
talking about, by the way, the book I was mentioning earlier is the one with the key that talks. I can't think of the name of that book.
No, that's it's not the Foundation, the Founders trilogy.
That's it. Because that key reminded me of you because it talked in all caps.
Oh, yeah, in Foundry Side. Yeah. I still haven't read the rest of those, but I need to.
Neither. I've only read the first book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Uva. We got a correction from.
Thank you, Theo.
Yeah, thank you, Theo. Yeah. So we could talk more about I'm the same way. I get anxious when people read fast only because I've always been a very slow reader.
Yeah.
And I have bad memories growing up where I would be reading in class alongside the class. They make you read silently as a class.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, when I'd finish, I'd read very carefully. And when I'd finish, I'd look up and everybody be looking at me, including the teacher, because I'd be the last one. Like I have bad memories of that.
I get
it makes me so anxious. Like I have like this anxious feeling when I feel like people are like reading way past me.
Mine didn't hit me till BookTube when because I struggle with comparing. And so I'm just like, how's everybody read this stuff? And then I just get mad because I have crap to do because I have a job that sends me out of my house all day. And I'm not knocking like everybody. I'm speaking completely generally. Most of the people that I know work from home at least part of the time now. And so, I just get mad. I'm like, hey, you know what? I could do something too if I freaking work from home. You know what else I could do? I could do something too if I could listen to a freaking book instead of having to like instruct people all day. So it just makes me angry about like my lot in life. And I have a good life. And so I'm not actually mad except for the fact that like, sure, like I just want to read more. So I'm fine as long as there's not people around that are more fine than me, because then I'm like, well, I hate them. So what do I have to do to kill them, take their stuff like the old Roman emperors? Like, I need to be emperor. That's really what I need to do. I need to exercise some of that freaking imperial immunity I got now. So anyway.
There you go. That's a solution, right? That's part of the reason I stalled on BookTube. Yeah.
This is why I have no joy, Theo. That's why I'm joyless. And I realize that's a character flaw. That's my character flaw. I compare way too much and I don't want to. Like, it's not like I enjoy it. It's not like I'm like, you know what I would love to do? I would love to be miserable right now. So let's go through all the people who are way better than me. And I come up with like computers can't support that many characters. So anyway, I wish I was not like that.
Yeah, I understand that totally. I feel like people are always saying, "Don't compare yourself to others." I'm like, it's like the most human thing we do is compare. Like that's what we do. That's what how our mind works. It's hard
That's
not to.
that's why my job is decent, because I'm surrounded by 100 people who I am objectively better than. Like they're all dumb teenagers. Like they are way below me. So it's I can just like be like, yes, at least I'm not these plebs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least I can tell time on an analog clock. Biggest disappointment, I would say probably the way my life has turned out.
What? Oh my God. We're talking about books.
Oh, are we?
And
Are
you
we?
have a beautiful child and
Yes,
wife and
I
home.
understand. Okay, so
Gosh.
my inability to fulfill my potential then. Yeah, because I can't actually say that about my life, because I do have a wonderful wife and a wonderful family. So I'd say, yeah, I guess I thought I was gonna do more than I've done as an adult.
But you're doing amazing, Alan. You're one of the smartest, most wonderful people I know, just so you know. I couldn't think of anyone else I would rather do this tag with than you.
I think you're trying to get back on the buddy read list right now. That's what you're doing.
But you have a whole huge list of people here who want to be on your loyalist team, on your council.
They don't.
So
No, they don't. Here's what they want to do. Here's what they want to do. This is why Kyle wants to be on the buddy read list again, and you, and maybe not you, but Evie. Here's what they want to do. They think I'm Charlie Brown. They want me to agree to let him back on. They want me to buddy read with him again, and then lift the football away right as I'm about to kick it, just like freaking Lucy. That's what they want to do, and I'm not going to fall for it again. So that's right. And
Charlie Brown's so fun. I
I
haven't
mean, he
watched
is
Charlie Brown
fun.
forever.
I love Charlie
Or
Brown.
read it. Yeah.
So Claudius the God, by far. Claudius was so good, like as a biography, that is very, very historically accurate. And Claudius the God, like Claudius is not about the reign of Claudius. Claudius becomes emperor at the end of Claudius. And so we're like, Claudius the God, cool. This is written about much more rarely. Claudius being emperor as opposed to, Augustus Tiberius Caligula. And I know why. It was so boring. It was just what worked in Claudius did not work in Claudius the God. Just the way it was told did not work when Claudius is the main character, not reporting about his family. It blew both me and Anitha into a reading slump. Man, it just wasn't. It's my least favorite book of the year, and I read The Dispossessed. Like it, and it's
You
about.
did tell me that. You did tell me that
I
book
know, and it's
was one of
about
the
Rome. Like it's about Rome. Like that's the shock. It's a freaking Rome book. And then I read Nero, which was also not great. So I don't know. Yeah, it's Claudius the God for me. What about you?
Oh, for me, you're gonna be proud of this one.
There you go. That's a terrible book. How are you disappointed? It's because you didn't believe me when I told you it's terrible.
It's been on my TBR. Well, I put it on my TBR before I knew that you thought it was terrible, but yeah, it's been on my TBR for a couple of years. I did have a wonderful discussion with the fantasy thinker about this book, and I love that channel. I love Jared. He was here in the chat earlier. So it was worth it. It was worth it to read it to have that discussion with him. But I was so bored. And then I broke my mom's heart because she loves this book. And then she gave me this long speech about how this is a journey of faith. And this fisherman reminded her of her father, my grandfather, and his faith and his resilience. And I was like, oh, I feel like such a failure.
That book is a journey of sleeping, and the fisherman reminds me of the Sandman and other people who are boring and induce sleep. Like, I don't want to read an account of somebody going fishing. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, it was really boring. It was so boring.
I
And
had
it's
to read
so
it.
short. It is so short. And I was yawning like every page. I was like,
I, I
I thought
agree,
this was
Phoebe.
supposed to be a masterclass in great prose, and I mean, he's a good writer, yeah, but
It's a
not
master class in, I don't know, garbage. Who cares? Who cares, Hemingway? Go drink some more, man. Like, I'd stop writing, please. Ugh,
yeah.
I hate Old Man of the Sea. Hate
I
him.
love seeing what other people's most disappointing books are too,
I
so
get okay. So if
no.
you believe the Kaigen hype, I understand how you'd be disappointed by Kaigen. Um,
I
there's
feel
a
bad because I
lot.
feel like I've contributed to this a little bit.
I like sort of Kaigen. I think it is I think the parts that it does well are fantastic.
This
But
is what I'm always saying. I'm always saying that. I'm always saying there are majorly clunky parts in the Sword of Kaigen, but the parts that are good, in my opinion, are better than most traditionally published fantasy.
I
Like,
agree.
it
But
hits it out of the park.
I
But
think
then
it's
I
I think you're
forget about
overstating
how
it.
bad the clunky parts are to some extent. Like, I feel bad because one of my friends, Jack in the Book Stack, read the book, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I think you're gonna love Mizaki." And that was, like, all that came into my head, but then I forgot about the ending and how bad that was, and she was like, "The ending is the worst thing ever." I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm sorry. I should have I guess I could have done a better job warning you about the
It-
fact that she meant to do more in that world, and it just didn't come together very well."
I agree.
And you had the best review because you said the best criticism about the flashback sequences being like a CW crime show or something like that?
I had yes. All I could think about when reading those chapters was when I watched Arrow. Like,
Yes, Arrow, that's what
just
it was.
just as
I remember
cheesy
that,
dialogue,
yes.
like cheesy dialogue, kind of over the top. I'm like, is so this is just so like tonally dissonant with the rest of the book.
It
And
is.
the end, the last, I do not think the last chapter is good
Oh, it's
because of
bad,
its
yeah,
ability, its necessity in tying it together with its CW Archer verse.
yeah.
And I personally think, like, there's a whole bunch of the denouement or the denouement,
You know
as I would much prefer to say, that I don't agree with, but I like just fine. I think the duel should be the last chapter in the novel, me personally.
yes.
But a lot
Perfect.
of the denouement is good. The last chapter isn't. The
Mhm.
last chapter is like this. Please, why is this here? Like this is all you're trying to do is crossover. This is when like the Flash shows up in Starling City. Like, make it go away.
Yes, I totally agree with all of that. I haven't read the Emily Wilde series, but I'm glad to hear that maybe I should avoid it. And I haven't read 1Q84 by Murakami or Trials of
A
Empires.
lot of people were disappointed with Trials of Empire.
Oh, what is that? Is that
That's the
by
third book in Empire of the Wolf. It's the last book of Justice of Kings.
Oh, that's what I thought. Bruce
A lot of
Project, I was watching her mid-year tag earlier this evening, and she loved that book. She
Yeah,
loved that
a
trilogy.
lot of people were disappointed in the last book.
Okay, okay. Good to know. Mine was Nero, terrible book.
Nero
Okay.
was not great, and especially Kyle's read like 17 Con Eagleton books. This is my first one, and I liked part 1. I did not like part 2, and I hated part 3. So I was like, I guess I'm not missing out on anything reading Eagleton because everyone's always talking about it. I'm like, it wasn't very good. And the things he changed, I'm like, why would you like? I don't even understand why you would change that.
Mhm.
So it wasn't great. I mean, it was fine. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't great.
So I've been seeing a lot of people lately saying they don't like Babel 17. I read
I
that
haven't
last
even started
year.
that book, which is sad. Means I haven't been on book too much.
Oh, it's an old book. It's like written in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
And it's based on a theory that's been debunked about consciousness and thought, like whether like you can't have consciousness on something that you don't have a word for. Like that was a common theory. I can't think of how to say it better than that, but it was a common theory in the 60s. It's been debunked since. But I still love that book though, because I just like the zaniness of it. And I loved the main character, Rydra Wong. There's an amazing female character in a 60s sci-fi book. Like, how often do you get that?
That's awesome.
So for me, it worked, but I can also understand why it's a miss for a lot of people too. And I'm like really shocked. I'm really shocked that Belltube says here that he read
I'm not shocked.
Infinite Jest. Well, no, I'm shocked that he even picked it up because that's a hard book, isn't it?
I would
And I
have
know you hate it.
every single person is like, I'm gonna read Infinite Jest. I'm like, why? Like, I don't believe that people actually enjoy that book. There are some books that I think people like, there's like a club that people feel like they have to belong to, and it involves reading super pretentious crap that no one wants to read. No one would read these things for enjoyment. They do it. And to be fair, I do things that I don't enjoy to get video game trophies to 100% the game. So you know what? I withdraw my objection because now I'm framing it in terms of people doing it to get the achievement or the trophy. So you know what? That's fine. That's fine. But I still don't believe anybody enjoys it. But I do think people do it. They grind through it so they can get the trophy. Which, you know what? All right, that's fine. I grind through. I do crap all the time on video games, and I'm like, I'm not having fun anymore. But I'm not leaving this at 96% complete. So I'm gonna get this trophy. So
I'm also going to say really quickly that The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Agaba was a little bit of a miss for me. This wasn't a huge disappointment, but it just was a little lackluster for me. And I love the premise. I feel like the the beauty of this book is the premise, which is about a math professor who went through a car accident and he doesn't he remembers everything that happened up until the car accident, but after that, he's only able to remember, I think it's up to 90 minutes. I think I'm not sure what the exact number was. He remembers up to 90 minutes at a time, and then his memory resets. So these people come into his life and it's very sentimental, but it just was a little lackluster for me, even though like the sentimental premise was really interesting and not, I don't regret reading it, but it was a little lackluster. Um, okay, next one is biggest surprise. Do you have any biggest surprises this year, Alan?
let me consult my list of 12.
Um,
Um, sorry, go ahead.
I have one. I can go ahead and start.
What do you have?
I think I'm gonna go. This is hard because there are a lot of things I could probably choose for this one. Man, I could probably go with a few different ones, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with Ubik by Philip K. Dick. This was so much fun. I kind of almost wonder, this might be too much of a stretch, and people will probably criticize me for saying this, but I almost wonder if people who are fans of Discworld, I don't know, watch you read it and hate it though. So I don't want to say that. But the characters are just very zany. Like they reminded me almost of like cartoon characters in some ways, but it was so much fun. Like I had such a good time with it. And
That's all.
it's so different than the type of book I normally read,
Yeah.
but it was really good. I
Yeah.
just had a good time with the zaniness of it and the themes and everything else, so that
Mine
might
is
be my choice.
mine. I want you to look at this book and tell me if you're
Is
like,
that
you
the
know what?
domestic thriller?
That looks like a book Alan's gonna like a lot. This was sent to me like my first year on BookTube. Someone's like, "You'll like it." It was after I read Behind Closed Doors, which is another
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
super
that.
domestic thriller. But I picked this up because that is how I broke my reading slump. Is I just read some stuff that was really easy to read, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up, like, grease the wheels or whatever. And I did. Again, I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I have this above like 4 books are
What?
lower than this of the
Wow.
12. This is ranked at number 8 so far, and even then only because it's dumb. And to be fair, maybe it should even be slightly higher. But I read this in 2.5 days. So I read it so quickly. It was just fun to not have to think about what I'm reading and just be able to be like, these people don't act like this. What? Okay, what's going to happen? And trying to predict, like, because you can't predict it because no one behaves like real humans. So you can't actually predict how they're going to behave because they're not going to behave like a real person. They're going to behave whatever. Anyway, I enjoyed the crap out of it. I, however, could not bring it with me in public because I'm sorry, you guys can say what you want. I'm not going to be seen in public reading this book.
It
Like
is weird even seeing you hold it, Alan, like
it's just this is not my aesthetic. This bright, glossy pink book. But I do want to read another one by
Yeah.
her. So I'm surprised.
But that's my favorite thing in the world right now is just seeing people who read books that like they'll read one book that seems like their taste, like a KJ Parker, and then they hold up a domestic thriller, like wife thriller right next to it. That's like my favorite thing in the world. Like I've been watching a lot of channels on BookTube lately that'll be reading like Boy's Life by McCammon and then Sarah J. Maas and Just No Shame. And I think that's
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So like I've been doing that a little bit. Like for example, this will probably come up in a future question, but like I really enjoyed both of these books. Like this is Baker. This is really bleak and disturbing and dense. And this is a middle grade portal fantasy. And it was really sweet and wholesome and I loved it. So I don't know. I like that juxtaposition. So
Right on.
all right. Let's see. So biggest surprise, did we answer that? I don't even know if I answered that.
We
Did I
just did.
answer that?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
said
Oh yeah, we did. I did. Ubik.
Ubik.
Ubik. Ubik. I think it's
I don't know.
Ubik.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
That's okay. Um, okay, so the next one is favorite new author. And so again, this could be favorite new author, debut, or new to you. I have like 3
Oh,
answers for this.
yeah. So it's got to be new to me. Um, I don't. So I don't know. None of them. Oh, Robert Graves, I guess, but I think I don't know anything else he wrote besides I, Claudius and Claudius the God. Oh, maybe Kazuo Ishiguro. Um,
Yeah.
because now I really should review any of these books. Remains of the Day, I would not have enjoyed if I had not seen all of Downton Abbey prior. And
Oh
this is
no, that's
because
not
I
going to be
know.
good for me.
No, I just know me. I would have struggled to kind of understand context, but because Downton Abbey, like the upstairs, downstairs, the thing about being a servant in, you know, kind of the World War era Britain, like I did not have to do any work to process that because that's Downton Abbey. So I knew the world we were inhabiting, and all of the terms. Like I would have had to figure out what service was. Like, are you in service? Like, what do you mean? Are you in service? Like I don't know. Oh, you mean do you work as a servant in a British manor?
I
All of
wouldn't know
that.
that. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Well, so when they say, "Do you work in service?" If you're usually if your mom was in service or your dad was in service, you also grew up in service and you become, So I knew what a footman was, I knew what a valet was, I knew what a butler was, I knew the rankings of all of those. So that helped me with the context, and I was just able to enjoy the story instead of. You're better with dense stuff than I am. You like just some of the stuff you read is too dense for me. So
I don't know.
um, that's
You
what I
read a lot of
struggle
dense
with.
stuff for me too, though. Like,
Some stuff is just too dense and it just ruins my enjoyment. But this wasn't because I got that. So yeah, that's just me. I don't think you need that context, but it helped me enjoy it a lot.
yeah. Another one I would add to my list is I might, by the way, message you whenever I get to it, in case I find any words I don't know about. But the Paper Menagerie, Ken Liu. Ken Liu is a new to me author that I absolutely love. And then another one I have to go over here really quickly that I'll probably be talking about again later is David Mitchell with the Bone Clocks. So those are some new to me authors that I really loved. I actually also read Emily Henry for the first time. That's going to be in my next wrap up. So yay. I know that Evie is a huge fan. And let's go ahead and read some other ones. Anita Bruckner. Interesting. I don't know that author. Guy Gabriel Kay. I feel like I'm always behind Matt. Matt always has like all these authors that I'm just discovering, and I feel like he's known about them forever. So Guy Gabriel Kay is amazing. I got into his books last year, read Ghana this year. Yeah, The Vanished Birds, really good book. Donna Tartt. I need to get to Donna Tartt. You read The Secret History, right? Or no, it's recommended to you. That's what it was. Yeah. And Slade House, yes, I want to read that, which is by David Mitchell. All right. Yes. So lots of good answers here. The next question is the fictional crush. And Evie put it down as favorite romance, but
I hate it. I hate it. Um,
and
favorite
then
romance.
yeah, there's a question we skipped too, but we'll go ahead
Oh,
and answer this first.
favorite
Go ahead.
romance. Let me go look.
Or fictional crush.
I don't have fictional crushes because I just don't. Um, favorite romance. Yes,
I have romance.
Christina said ours. I'm like, I know.
Aw.
I think it's talking about the books, Christina.
I know.
My favorite. I don't have one really. My favorite romance is Livia and Augustus, because Livia poisons every single person who is a threat to her, and Augustus just kind of lets it happen.
That's kind of morbid.
I mean, yeah, but I don't. There's like no romance in any of it. Let me tell you who it's not. No, let me tell you who it's not. Malcolm freaking Struan, and what is her freaking name? It's not Marguerite. What is her bloody name? The French girl in Guy Jin. Oh my Lord. Hundreds of pages devoted to something that not one person reading this book gives 2 cents about. Oh my goodness, what is her freaking name? I don't even know what her name is. I hate. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Least favorite romance probably of all time.
Wow. And you read that this year?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It contributed to my I don't remember all of that from when I read Gaijin the first time, because if I did, I never would have read Gaijin again. Who are these people? It is, what is it? It's Malcolm, Angelique. Here's my second point on Gaijin. Angelique and Malcolm, period. Who, all caps, period, cares, all caps, period. Oh my gosh, italics. Who cares? They're both insufferable, and after dealing with this romance that takes center stage for almost the entire book, I was longing for Brox to take down the noble house, despite my love for Dirk Struan and Taipan. Just awful.
All right. Well, I will skip that book.
Gaijin, the parts that Gaijin does well is the same parts that Clavel does well in all of his books. Fantastic. But he is so meandering, and there's no conclusion, because there was supposed to be a book following it, and he died.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that. Is that which book is that in the Asian saga? Is that
Gaijin is the third one. Yeah. So it pisses me off because it has to do basically directly with Taipan. It's the grandson of the main character of Taipan. And
have you read it before, though? I thought you loved that.
I had read Gaijin before.
Because I remember you recommending it to me.
I in no way remember that stupid romance.
No.
In no way remember it. So I don't even know.
That's good to know then.
Skip Gaijin, move on to King Rat, I guess. I'm reading that in August, I guess.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. You know who I'm reading it with? Kyle and Josh.
Kyle and Josh.
From Red Fury Books.
What?
I'm reading King Rat.
You're reading it with him. You're reading it with Kyle and Josh. Oh, your buddy reading with Kyle?
That's what I'm saying. And they're gonna be like, oh, done.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I know. I have to start it in July if I'm gonna finish it at the same time as them in August.
There's no way.
Freaks.
Yeah. They read super fast.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see. So I don't have a fictional crush of what I've read, but I'm going to go ahead and go outside the box here, because I've started getting really into Studio Ghibli films this last year. And this character might be a little too young for me anyway, but Howl's Moving Castle. Howl. I loved Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. So I'll just go with that.
I don't like Howl's Moving Castle.
I love that movie.
It's a hot take. It is many people's favorite.
Yeah, I loved it.
I thought I didn't like it. And I mean, I can't really articulate why. It just wasn't my favorite. A lot of Ghibli movies are hit or miss with me. Like, I really like Spirited Away.
That's my husband's favorite. My husband is such a big Spirited Away fan. He's not only watched it multiple times, but we have HBO Max. There is a play version of Spirited Away. There are 2 play versions of Spirited Away.
I didn't realize that was on Max. I knew there was a play version. I didn't realize it was on Max. I'm gonna go watch it.
Both of them recently.
I'm gonna go watch it now.
I was like, "Why are you watching this again?" He's like, "It's a different production." I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Dude, I'm with him. There is I think just went on in Japan, a My Neighbor Totoro musical that I think is coming to at least the West End at some point.
Goodness.
I would sell a lot of things to go see a My Neighbor Totoro
How
musical.
are they going to do the cat bus in musical form?
I don't know, but I know there's going to be a big old fat Totoro on stage, and that it's all animatronic. Oh, it's going to be
I
wonderful.
want to see the girl bouncing on the stomach, and yeah.
I love My Neighbor Totoro, but the thing is no one can accurately judge Totoro unless they've seen the
I know you said that.
lost version of the 20th Century Fox version. When
No, and nobody has access to that except you.
that's because Disney, when they bought the rights to Ghibli, like bought up and got rid of as many of the copies of 20th Century Fox one as they can. This is a true story. And so they've been removed from circulation by Disney.
Yeah.
So it is inferior, the Disney one. It is inferior to the Angelica from Rugrats as May one.
I had a good time with it. I don't know.
No, I know. Like, and people that don't know, it's like you don't know what you don't know. You
Yeah,
did have a good time with it, but you would have just a better time.
I'm sure you're right.
Better version.
I've been like so into Ghibli films though. The last one we watched was Arrietty. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Secret Life of Arrietty. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Oh, I really liked it. It's based on I think a 90s film, The Down Unders or I can't remember what it's called, but really cute. Liked it.
The
Borrowers. Was that it? No.
Borrowers. No, it is The Borrowers, isn't it?
It is The Borrowers? Okay,
Yeah.
The Borrowers. I enjoyed it. My husband didn't like that one as much, at least the first time he saw it, because it reminded him too much of The Borrowers because it's based on the same thing. But I loved it.
So, Joanna.
Yeah.
I have looked at the amount of questions we have remaining.
Oh, shoot. Okay, sorry.
No, hold on. What do you say we split this into 2 videos and do another one with the remaining 8 questions?
You're right. It is kind of late. So let's go ahead and do that. Yes, we can
do that. That would be super fun. Let's do it for a part 2 because I would hate to rush through them and just blast through them and not,
So let's start off with favorite character next time.
Ooh,
do you want to do that, or do you want to finish with favorite character?
No, because now we've gotten to we did a lot of the general ones, and now never mind. Yeah, we'll start with character next time. We should start with character.
Okay. We're just gonna have to figure out a time so that we can redo or we can go on to do part 2. But I just want to say to everyone in the chat, thank you so much for joining us today. And just to answer the question, I'm not watching One Piece. I know I'm missing out someday.
No, you're not missing out. Good for you. Good for you. Like resisting the siren song. Good for you, Joanna.
Resisting the siren song.
Stay away from those people. Ooh, those people are crazy. Yeah. You know that, right? Like they're the meanest people have ever been to me on YouTube or One Piece fans.
And they were really mean to you.
I can't like, what is y'all's problem? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why. Because a lot of One Piece fans are fine, but those people sucked.
Yeah. And by the way, yes, if you want to do this tag, anybody is free to do the mid-year tag. Everyone should do the mid-year tag. And if you want to do it in a collaborative way, I don't mind if people want to borrow this trend, but I did it first with Alan.
That's right. And I was here, meaning I was part of the trend setting.
True.
Yeah, that's right.
Theo, we love you.
Yeah, we do.
We're happy to see you here. So thank you.
Indeed.
Huge hugs. Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See you for part